presentation is about pillars of health. There definitely isn't a shortage of information, advertisements, or opinions out there when it comes to our health and wellness. It can be challenging to figure out what to believe and not to believe, what's worth trying and not worth trying. So often we grasp for that magic pill or potion, hoping it'll be the miracle that we're looking for. After all, it worked for our neighbors, cousins, brother-in-law, or so we heard. And while we're busy looking for that next big thing, we lose sight of what really matters when it comes to our health. I'm so excited today to have a group of professionals here with me to help shine the light on what the evidence show matters when it comes to our health. The nuts and bolts of our health, if you will. Our goal here in the next 30 minutes is to give you information that you can take with you so you can live your healthiest life. My name's Amy and I'm a nationally board certified health and wellness coach. I did my training at the Mayo Clinic and I'm also the owner of Willow Tree Wellness Center here in Arthur. Today with me I have Valerie Coons from Second Chance Fitness, Leslie Davis from Heart Call Counseling, and my colleague Carissa Kurtzinger. So let's get started. What is health anyway? The World Health Organization declares that health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. There are many different aspects that go into being healthy, but for the purpose of keeping this presentation within the given time, we're going to focus on 5 main pillars that we believe make up a healthy and happy individual. So up first is Valerie with movement and exercise.
Like Amy said, I work at Second Chance, so I'm going to be representing them today. So movement and exercise. This is probably the pillar that people find most intimidating. Being active is a very important aspect of being healthy, but being active doesn't have to mean spending hours in the gym like some people might think. There's more to being active than bodybuilding and marathons. The CDC recommends that we have 150 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic activity a week, or 75 minutes of vigorous intensity activity per week. That may sound like a lot of time dedicated to physical fitness, but that can break down to only 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. And for those of you with 30-minute lunch breaks, you know that 30 minutes goes by pretty fast. And these activities don't have to be things that are very intensive. An article from Harvard suggests that even household activities like mopping the floors or raking leaves can be considered moderate intensity. Moderate intensity is basically any activity that you do that makes your heart rate increase enough to break into a light sweat. Other methods of moderate intensity exercises could be walking, jogging, swimming, climbing stairs, playing tennis, or even dancing. More studies from Harvard show that regular exercise can also help improve the mind. Studies suggest that people who exercise regularly are found to have a larger portion of the brain that controls thinking and memory. Research shows that doing exercise influences the release and uptake of feel-good chemicals called endorphins in the brain. Even a short burst of 10-minute brisk walking increases our mental alertness, energy, and positive mood. It is estimated that between 25 to 35% of American adults are completely inactive, meaning they work sitting down, drive everywhere sitting down, and then sit down at home. That is a stark contrast when compared to our ancestors who walked up to 8 miles per day. To rectify the situation and show you what you've been missing, I challenge you to spend at least 30 minutes every day engaging in low-level aerobic activity, walking, cycling, hiking, rowing, swimming, or a mix of all of them. Just log that 30 minutes every single day. Walking around the mall or grocery store, or to and from the bathroom, don't count toward your total. As you progress through the week, rank your energy level, mood, general sense of well-being each day, restfulness, or sense of productivity from 1 to 10. You might be surprised at how much better you actually feel. Here are a few more ideas. My favorite way to incorporate more movement into the day include making a game out of it. Make it fun. For example, Doing 10 jumping jacks or air squats every time you take a drink of water or use the restroom is a fun way to get movement into your day, especially if your coworkers or family are in on the game. If you sit down at your desk job, be sure to get up every hour and walk around. Taking small breaks can help you physically as well as mentally. Maybe movement is something that you already incorporate into your day and you're looking for a little bit more. There are fascinating studies on the benefits of strength training and high-intensity interval workouts for health and longevity. According to the Mayo Clinic, lean muscle mass naturally diminishes with age. Strength training can help you preserve and enhance your muscle mass at any age. Strength training may also help you develop strong bones. By stressing your bones, strength training can increase bone density and reduce the risk of osteoporosis. Strength training can also manage your weight. It can help you manage or lose weight, and it can increase your metabolism to help you burn more calories. It can also enhance your quality of life. Strength training may enhance your quality of life and improve your ability to do everyday activities. Building muscle also can contribute to better balance and may reduce your risk of falls. This can help you maintain independence as you age. It can also manage chronic conditions. It can reduce the signs and symptoms of many chronic conditions such as arthritis, back pain, obesity, heart disease, depression, and diabetes. Lastly, it can sharpen your thinking skills. Some research suggests that regular strength training and aerobic exercise may improve thinking and learning skills for older adults. As for high-intensity interval training, there are numerous benefits there too. High-intensity interval training has been recognized as an alternative and more efficient protocol than moderate-intensity continuous training. You might be wondering what high-intensity interval training is. High-intensity interval training is a type of exercise that involves repeated short bouts of high intensity or burst exercises, followed by a brief recovery period. This sequence is repeated several times in a row, usually for a duration between 20 to 30 minutes. HIIT has been found to boost cardiovascular health, improve type 2 diabetes, increase energy, boost metabolism, improved libido, improve muscle tone, and reduce body fat. Here's a sample workout for you. This can be a 10, 20, or even 30-minute workout depending on what you have time for, consisting of air squats, push-ups, step-ups, and jumping rope. Go through each movement described for an intense 20 seconds. Move very quickly through as many reps as you can perform in 20 seconds. So, air squats for 20 seconds, rest for 10 seconds. Push-ups for 20 seconds, rest for 10 seconds. Step-ups for 20 seconds, rest for 10 seconds. Jump rope for 20 seconds, rest for 10 seconds. These are simple exercises that you can do without any equipment. After the circuit is complete, rest a minute, then go through the entire circuit another 2 times until you lose proper form. If you have questions or would like to get started with a trainer or with a gym membership, feel free to find me after the presentation.
The next pillar that we're going to talk about is the pillar of the mind. This pillar focuses on 2 aspects, both of which play an essential role in our health and well-being. Oftentimes we hear words mental health and we may think of the extremes, like bipolar disorder or schizophrenia, but there's really much more to it than that. Our minds immediately jump to mental illness and not mental health. So I'm going to talk about mental health. Mental health is defined by the World Health Organization as a state of well-being in which the individual realizes his or her own abilities, who can cope with the normal stress of life, and can work productively, and is able to make a contribution to his or own community. And I'm going to talk about the number 1 deterrent to that, and that's the common cold of the mental health world, and that's depression. How many people here have gotten a common cold at one time or another in your life? Depression is the common cold of the mental health world. Studies are very clear that people with a medical illness or condition are more likely to suffer from depression. But the reverse is also true. Those who suffer with depression are also more likely to develop physical illness. People with depression have an increased risk of cardiovascular disease, diabetes, stroke, and Alzheimer's disease. Research also suggests that people with depression are at a higher risk of osteoporosis. The reasons aren't clear. We don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg. But one of the factors with some of these illnesses is that many people with depression may have less access to good medical care. They may have a harder time caring for their health. For example, seeking care or taking prescribed medicine, eating well, or exercise. Because after all, when you don't feel good and you're depressed, who wants to do several rounds of what was just explained, right? People with depression, scientists have found changes in the way that several different body systems function, all of which can have an impact on your physical health. These include signs of increased inflammation, changes in control of heart rate and blood circulation, abnormalities in stress hormones, and metabolic changes typical to those seen in people with diabetes. Who knew that depression could have such an impact on our physical health? As you can see, the negative impact of depression on mental health and everyday life can be severe. So let me talk about what you can do to change that. There are two elements in maintaining positive mental health: brain health and emotional health. Every brain changes with age, and mental function changes along with it. Mental decline is common, and it's one of the most feared consequences of aging. But cognitive impairment is not inevitable. Here are 4 ways that you can keep your brain young. 1, get physical exercise. It does help keep your brain young, and it can be as easy as getting a walk outside, just going for a walk for 30 minutes a day. Get mental stimulation. This is number 2. Get mental stimulation. Something like word puzzles or brain teasers. Or how about reading a challenging book? Maybe having to look up some words that you don't know. That triggers the brain into having to think and learn new things. Number 3, improve your diet. Studies show that people that eat a Mediterranean-style diet that emphasizes fruits, vegetables, fish, nuts, unsaturated oils like olive oil, and plant sources of protein are less likely to develop cognitive impairment or dementia. Number 4, building social networks. Some strong social ties have been associated with lower risk of dementia, as well as lower blood pressure and longer life expectancy. So make a coffee date with your friend or volunteer at your favorite charity. The second aspect of positive mental health is caring for your emotions. Did you know that people who are anxious, depressed, sleep deprived, or exhausted tend to score poorly on cognitive functioning tests? According to the National Center for Emotional Wellness, the term refers to an awareness, understanding, and acceptance of your emotions and your ability to manage them effectively through challenges and changes. When you're tuned into your feelings, then you can be more easily, when you're tuned into your feelings, then you can more easily become aware of your body's sensation. For instance, if you realize that you're mad, your heart rate is going through the roof because it has triggered an adrenaline response. If you can work to lower your heart rate, you also can lower your anger. The more you are aware of your feelings and emotions, the more reliable they become. Remaining in the present moment and adhering to a sense of mindfulness without looking too much in the past or in the future is also a very important part of emotional well-being. It's called living in the moment. Being emotionally well encourages you to slow down and fosters practice of mindfulness. Being emotionally well doesn't necessarily mean that you're happy all the time, but rather that you're self-aware and you're able to shift the ways that make yourself feel better. Being emotionally well leads to a happy, more blissful life and also allows you the opportunity to attain your full potential. Many things happen in your life that can disrupt your emotional health. These can lead to strong feelings of sadness, stress, anxiety, and yes, depression. Here are 5 questions to ask yourself in regards to your emotional health. Examining these questions will help you increase your emotional well-being. Number 1, are you grateful? Emotionally healthy people feel gratitude for their lives, for all of the goodness that they experience. They are appreciative of what they do have rather than bemoaning the things that they do not have. They usually count all of the blessings of their lives, not just money or material objects. Focus on the things that you are grateful for in your life. Try not to obsess about the problems at work or at school or at home that lead to negative feelings. Keeping a thankful journal is also a good idea, and then you can go back and look at some of the things that you've been thankful for in the past. Okay, the second question. Are you happy with the person that you are? Those who are emotionally healthy are usually content with themselves. They might feel as if they're living the lives that they've always wanted. They also take care of themselves physically, and psychologically by doing what is beneficial for them. And they're rarely complainers. But instead, they might be seekers who are often trying to become better people and help those around them do the same. They might also engage in self-talk. These are the people that you want to be around all the time because they're genuinely happy people. And if they're not happy, they're trying to be happy, or they will be able to get happy quickly. Question number 3. Do you have a life purpose? Those who generally have a well-developed sense of well-being have reason to wake up in the morning. They also tend to see life's bigger picture. They tend to know their core values and what is important to them, and how to focus on those core values. Their purpose gives them meaning, whether it's professional, family-orientated, or community-orientated. Okay, question number 4. Do you take care of yourself? To have good emotional health, it's important to take care of your body and have a regular routine for eating healthy meals, getting enough sleep, exercising to relieve pent-up tension, and just overall general health, right? Avoid overeating and don't use drugs or alcohol. So taking care of yourself is very important as far as mental health, mental well-being also. And question number 5, do you have ways to manage your stress? Those who are emotionally stable have their own ways of navigating the stressors in their life, whether it's prayer or exercise, therapy, or creative pursuits such as art, music, and writing. They're able to maintain a balance between work and play. As with anything, it's important to recognize when you need to enlist the supportive help or the help of a qualified person such as a counselor or a coach to help you through times when you're unsure. So to sum up this pillar of health focuses on brain health and emotional health. I talked about 4 ways to keep your brain young and 5 questions to ask yourself to engage mental wellness. Thank you.
The next pillar is stress management. So stress. Just hearing that word can trigger stress sometimes. Stress has many faces, and it creeps into our lives from many directions. No matter what causes it, stress puts the body and the mind on edge. It floods the body with stress hormones, our heart pounds, muscles get tense, our breathing quickens, our stomach churns. Did you know even a little daily stress can have adverse metabolic consequences in the body? After a stressful episode, your risk of death and heart attack go up several-fold for a few hours. Not only does our response to stress, whether it's real or perceived, start with the brain, but in the form of chronic, toxic stress, it ends up harming the brain. So, real stress, that could be like a scary diagnosis, a death in the family, a deadline at work, a bear chasing you in the woods, or giving a presentation at the auto center. Perceived stress. So that is, those are feelings and thoughts that an individual has about how much stress they're under at a given point in time. So this is where it gets really interesting. Stress, whether it's real or imagined, when you perceive something as stressful, real or imagined, it creates the same response in the body. So an imagined stress could be thinking, is my coworker or spouse mad at me? They seem funny. Did I say something? Should I ask them if they're mad at me? You know how it goes, right? Or maybe if we've been feeling under the weather. I feel so tired lately. Do I have cancer? I hope not. It could be cancer. You know how the mind works. It just spirals out of control. So that would be an imagined stress. So if anyone's interested in measuring their stress, I have copies of a stress assessment that you can take home with you after this presentation if you want. Recent research shows that chronic stress can not only increase our cortisol levels, but more importantly, it disrupts the natural cortisol rhythm in the body. It's this broken rhythm that negatively affects our body. So among other effects, stress can raise our blood sugar, weaken our immune system, make you hungry and crave sugar, reduces your ability to burn fat, increases belly fat, it can cause depression, anxiety, and mood imbalances, contributes to cardiovascular disease, and it can accelerate aging. It's well documented in scientific literature that the list of health problems caused by stress goes on and on and on. In fact, it's not a stretch to suggest that stress contributes to all modern chronic disease. I think out of the 5 pillars, stress management is probably the most important one, because you could be eating all the right things, taking really good supplements, exercising every day, but if you're not managing your stress, you're going to be at risk for modern degenerative conditions like heart disease, diabetes, and autoimmunity. Stress management is absolutely crucial to optimal health and longevity. So here's a few tips for managing stress. The first step is to avoid unnecessary stress. And this often seems obvious, but it's easy to overlook our patterns of thought and behavior that causes unnecessary stress. Here's a few guidelines. We need to learn how to say no. Know your limits. Don't take on projects or commitments you can't handle. Avoid people who stress you out. You know the kind of person I'm talking about. They're constantly taking, and never giving. Limit your time with those people. We can influence how we respond to stressors by changing how we perceive the stress. This is known as reframing. So for example, let's say you lose your job. If you perceive that event as a sign of you're worthless and an indicator that you're never going to be successful, you can imagine how that's going to affect the body. But what if you reframe it and think, well, I lost my job, but this is an opportunity to pursue maybe a long-time dream that I've had, or to start fresh. So I'm not suggesting that you put a positive spin on tragic or horrific events, but if you find yourself feeling overwhelmed by minor daily hassles, reframing can be a powerful way to mitigate the impact of stress. Believe it or not, a diet can affect your stress levels. The right diet can do wonders to reduce our stress and how it impacts our life. When we clean up our diet, we can eliminate caffeine, alcohol, refined sugars, processed foods. And when we do that, we maintain an even-keeled mindset throughout the day, even when things get hectic. You can replace those foods with clean proteins, healthy fats, vegetables, berries. Food is information that controls our gene expression, hormones, and metabolism. When we eat the right foods, we balance our blood sugar, restore hormonal balance, and reduce stress's damaging impact on the body. Another tip for managing stress is, you guessed it, exercise. Just like Valerie talked about earlier, exercise is a powerful, well-studied way to burn off stress chemicals and to heal the mind. You might also choose to add some supplements into your diet to help manage stress. We recommend a high-quality multivitamin, your B vitamins especially, zinc, and most importantly, magnesium, the relaxation mineral. You can also use some herbs if you choose. Adaptogenic herbs are really good to help us adapt and balance our response to stress, like ginseng, rhodiola rosé, and ashwagandha are really good. Deep breathing is another way to help with stress. Many of us hold our breath when we're stressed and we're just shallow breathers. Instead, taking deep, slow, full breaths can have a profound effect on resetting our stress response. What that does is the vagus nerve that emerges from our brain goes to the diaphragm, and it's activated every time we take a deep breath. And last but not least is sleep. A lack of sleep can increase our stress hormone. So get your 8 hours no matter what. Take a nap if you missed your sleep. Prioritize your sleep. And that actually brings us to our next pillar, which is sleep. Sleep gets its own pillar, and here's Carissa talking about sleep.
Half of the U.S. population is sleep deprived. So what is the recommended amount of sleep anyway? The need for sleep varies considerably between individuals. The general recommended amount of sleep for adults is 7.5 to 9 hours. You need at least 7.5 hours so your body can complete the 5 cycles of sleep. Not getting enough sleep is a recognized threat to public health. It not only raises the risk of road crashes and mistakes at work that can lead to injury, but it also is tied to a higher risk of a number of chronic diseases such as heart disease, diabetes, obesity, and depression. A study of healthy middle-aged adults has found that poor sleep can raise levels of 2 proteins associated with Alzheimer's disease. Other typical effects of sleep deprivation include heart disease, hypertension, weight gain, diabetes, and a wide range of psychiatric disorders such as depression and anxiety. We are constantly trying to improve areas of our health by eating better, exercising, managing stress, but seldom do we consider sleep. Studies show that just by going to bed earlier, you can improve your memory, cognitive performance, ability to learn new things and handle problems, mood, ability to lose weight, metabolic function, immunity, and heart disease risk. Here are a few tips for getting more Z's. Create a perfect sleep environment. You'll want a dark, cool, quiet bedroom with 0 blue light emitted from alarm clocks or other digital devices. These have been found to disrupt melatonin production. This disturbs our circadian rhythm and results in sleep loss. It's important to mention that your body does much of its detoxification while you're asleep. It's time your body uses to repair damaged tissue and get rid of the toxins and junk you've been exposed to throughout the day. For that reason, you might find it beneficial to keep an air purifier in your bedroom and sleep on a non-toxic mattress and pillow so you're not breathing in or absorbing toxins while you're sleeping, adding to your body's toxic burden. Be consistent. Go to bed at the same time each night and get up at the same time each morning, including weekends. Target your ideal bedtime. Many of us know exactly when we need to wake up, but are unsure of when we need to go to sleep. Here's how to calculate your bedtime. The average sleep cycle is 90 minutes long, and a typical night of sleep includes 5 full sleep cycles. So we take 5 times 90, 450 minutes, or 7.5 hours. Starting at your wake-up time, work back 7.5 hours to your bedtime. So if you need to wake up at 5 a.m., you should be in bed by at least 9:30. This means lights out, ready for sleep. Get some exercise. Being physically active during the day can help you fall asleep more easily at night. Exercise can increase the time spent in deep sleep, the most physically restorative type of sleep. Exercise reduces stress, a common source of sleep problems, and last but not least, exercise enhances sleep quality. And as far as food or supplements for sleep, tart cherry juice has been found helpful. It contains melatonin, the hormone secreted by our brain's pineal gland that helps control your sleep, promoting circadian rhythm. A 2012 study showed in the European Journal of Nutrition showed that eating tart cherries increased melatonin levels in the body, which resulted in improved sleep. I recommend 1 cup of organic, no sugar added tart cherry juice 30 minutes to an hour before bed. Some other foods that contain melatonin include bananas, pineapples, oranges, almonds, and walnuts. Non-caffeinated herbal teas such as chamomile, ginger, peppermint are calming for bedtime as well. You may also find that magnesium can help with your sleep. Magnesium is an essential mineral that the human body needs in large quantities. The body does not produce magnesium. The magnesium your body needs must come from outside sources. Magnesium-rich foods include dark leafy greens, seeds and nuts, including sunflower and sesame seeds, cashews and almonds, squash, broccoli, and other vegetables, legumes, and meat. People with low magnesium often experience restless sleep, waking frequently during the night. Maintaining healthy magnesium levels often leads to deeper, more sound sleep. Magnesium plays a role in supporting deep restorative sleep by maintaining healthy levels of GABA, a neurotransmitter that promotes sleep. Research indicates supplemental magnesium can improve sleep quality, especially in people with poor sleep. Magnesium can also help insomnia that's linked to sleep disorder, restless leg syndrome. You can also get some magnesium by taking an Epsom salt bath at night for 20 minutes. Add 2 cups of Epsom salt and 10 drops of lavender essential oil to the bath water. Another note regarding food, don't be too full or too hungry. Some people sleep better after eating a light dinner. This is especially true for those with digestive issues. Others, like those with a tendency toward hypoglycemia, do better with a snack before bed and possibly even during the night. And that leads us to our next pillar, food and diet.
This next pillar we sure have a ton of information on. We hear about the keto diet, the Mediterranean diet, the Atkins diet, the South Beach diet, the carnivore diet, the vegan diet, the vegetarian diet, the paleo diet, and it goes on and on and on and on and on. Your food choices of every day affect your health, how you feel today, tomorrow, and in the future. Good nutrition is an important part of a healthy lifestyle. Unhealthy eating habits have contributed to the obesity epidemic in the U.S. 40% of U.S. adults are obese, and 20% of kids in the U.S. are obese. Chronic disease is one of the biggest challenges that we face. Our behavior and our environment are the primary drivers for chronic disease, not our genes. Even for people at a healthy weight, poor diet is associated with major health risks that can cause illness and even death. This includes heart disease, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, osteoporosis, and certain types of cancer. By making smart food choices, you can help protect yourself from these health problems. There are fascinating studies of diseases like diabetes, high blood pressure, and heart disease being reversed through diet changes alone. It's my opinion that instead of focusing on a specific diet, that we focus instead on eating mainly whole foods, emphasizing vegetables, fruits, lean meats, poultry, fish, beans, eggs, nuts, and seeds is a good starting point. And of course, you'll want to stay within your daily caloric needs. I also think it's helpful to aim for lifelong health and vitality and not necessarily weight loss. You might be wondering, do I have to give up my favorite comfort food? Maybe. If your favorite comfort food is a diet soda, I'm not going to sit here and say, well, you can have that every now and then. Because really what we know about diet soda is it's just not good for the body. But if your favorite comfort food is something like maybe pasta and meatballs or chocolate brownies, I think it's okay to have those in moderation. I think that we can balance them out with healthier foods and then more physical activity. So here's some general tips for comfort foods. Just eat them less often. If you normally eat these foods every day, cut back to maybe every other week or once a month. You'll be cutting your calories because you're not having the food as often. Eating smaller amounts. If your favorite high-calorie food is a chocolate bar, have a smaller size or just half a bar. And you can try a low-calorie version. Use lower-calorie ingredients or prepare the food differently. Just remember not to increase your portion size. Here's a few tools for eating healthy. Meal prepping. There are many reasons to meal prep. First of all, it saves you time and money. And it also prevents decision fatigue. For many of us, our days are a series of decision-making sessions that leave us exhausted and deplete our willpower, leading to decision fatigue. Decision fatigue can make us more likely to lounge on the couch or order takeout after work instead of hitting the gym or cooking a wholesome meal. By deciding all of your meals in advance, you reduce your decision fatigue. This frees up some of your willpower, and it helps you to stay on track with your diet and other health-related goals. The first step towards meal prepping is to get rid of the food in your fridge and freezer and pantry that aren't serving your health. You could toss or give away items like sugary beverages, seed oils like vegetable oil, peanut oil, margarine, Crisco, packaged meals like French fries and frozen dinners, boxed pastries, cereals, dressings, chips, crackers, candy, you know what I'm talking about. You might be wondering, well, what am I gonna eat? Fear not, there's still plenty of food that you can eat. You'll want to restock the pantry and the fridge and freezer with healthy options like fresh or frozen broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, green onions, bell peppers, leafy greens. Fruits like berries, apples, pears, bananas, mangoes, pineapple, citrus fruits are a really good source of vitamin C and phytonutrients. They make a great snack on their own, or you can add them into a smoothie. Starches like sweet potatoes, white potatoes, plantains, winter squash, beets, turnips. These are all really good, affordable, nutrient-dense foods that you can include in your diet. High-quality proteins like beef, bison, chicken, turkey, wild-caught fish, eggs are great options for a healthier diet. When it comes to fats, olive oil, coconut oil, avocado oil, lard are healthy fats to have on hand for sauteing, roasting, baking, and dressing salads. Spices are staples that can quickly add interest to any meal. Spices like oregano, thyme, fennel, rosemary, cinnamon, turmeric are a few of my personal favorites. You can plan your meal with either a healthy cookbook or an app, and then cook your meal. For many people, meal prepping happens on the weekends. You'll want to experiment which day is best for you to meal prep. You also want to incorporate leftovers and batch cook. When you batch cook, that just means you're doubling and tripling your favorite recipe, and that's a critical component of food prepping and can be applied towards many types of food. For example, you could bake several batches of egg muffins at a time to have around for breakfasts, or roast a bunch of sweet potatoes to use as sides during the week. Once you've prepped your meals, you'll need containers for storing everything. The link between good nutrition and healthy weight, reduced chronic disease, and overall health is too important to ignore. By taking steps to eat healthy, you'll be on your way to getting the nutrients that your body needs to stay healthy, active, and strong. As with physical activity, making small changes in your diet can go a long way, and it's easier than you think. So in conclusion, as you can see, these pillars all work together hand in hand. Many of them overlap. If you have any questions about the pillars, we're happy to take any questions at this time. No. Thank you for your time.